Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, my weekly interview show, where I learned a little bit more about someone else's perspective on movies. And this time, my friend Dave of... God, Dave, it's been 13 years!
Oh my.
Is back for the second time. You might have seen Dave on all of my baseball episodes of Wasteland Talks, joining my brother and I, talking some baseball. But we love movies too, and sports. We're well-rounded. Dave, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me back on, Shane. It's always fun.
And we're going to keep having some fun, and let's get things started with. So, Dave, think of a film that was previously released and you haven't seen that you're most excited about checking out.
Ooh, that one's pretty easy because I definitely missed a couple of big ones this year. And I think I have to pick two hand in hand for this one.
Okay.
Which would be both Barbie and Oppenheimer.
You missed out on Barbenheimer. Now it's time
to
catch up.
I did. I made such a big deal of being like, I want to see it. It's got to be just right. I'm going to get some people and go, and then it just didn't happen.
Oh, Dave. Well, you know what? It's on my Amazon account because I bought it on there. So if you want to watch it.
Well, there we go. I am long overdue at this point, so.
Because I was an idiot and didn't check Max or anything when Ethan was over, wanted to watch it, so I just bought it. I'm like, I'm not renting this for $20 if I could buy it for $20. That's stupid.
That's fair.
So now I have that, and I have my physical copy now too because of Black Friday. So, and then Oppenheimer's finally out on physical media and on VOD. So those are definitely worth watching. Very different experiences. Barbie's a lot of fun. Oppenheimer's not. That's a dark experience.
If I watch them back to back, what order should I do them in?
You should definitely watch Barbie after.
Okay.
I did not.
Good pick me up after an intense movie.
Exactly. Now, Dave, what's an upcoming film that hasn't released yet that you're most excited about?
Ooh, this one I'm going to have to give to the next Deadpool movie.
Ah, yes.
I've been anticipating that one for quite some time. And, seeing Hugh Jackman come back is going to be super exciting. I'm really interested to see, what's going to happen with X-Men as a whole going forward. And, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool is always a great time.
Yep. Those pictures they released of him in his yellow Wolverine costume, I'm just like, sold! And it's going to be the only Marvel movie we're getting in 2024, in July. So, we got a good 8 months to build up anticipation still. And I'm definitely excited about that one too. And supposedly it's one of the biggest movies going into Secret War. So that's exciting too. So crazy shit's probably going to happen. So that's exciting. Now, Dave, a lot of people don't like remakes. They make so many of them. But what's something you actually want to see remade?
So I thought about this one for a little while, and I feel like it's a more recent movie, but I think you'll understand why I'm saying this, is the Episode 9 of Star Wars.
Oh, why do you say that, Dave?
Well, obviously with Episode 7, it wasn't revolutionary, but I think everyone pretty much at least enjoyed it.
Yes.
Episode 8, obviously, you loved it or you hated it. But, it's at least critically acclaimed. And while I'll admit it wasn't what I wanted from a Star Wars movie, I can still acknowledge that it is a good movie.
Yeah.
But, with Episode 9, it just felt like such a waste of everyone's time. There was so much of it just retconning what happened in the previous movie. And, even being someone who was like, I didn't like all the directions Episode 8 took. I'm like, if that's what you went with, then stick with it. Don't waste the audience's time trying to undo all of that.
The first 30 minutes of Rise of Skywalker was redoing the last movie. And it's like, nope, come now, J.J. Abrams. But just remember, Dave, Emperor Palpatine returned somehow.
I'm sure we'll find out eventually as they continue to expand with all these Disney Plus shows.
Like, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are like, we have to take this on our backs and try to re-explain how this happened. Which, to be perfectly honest, all the stuff they keep talking about cloning-wise, I'm like, wow, they actually are building a bridge to show how that actually came about. And they shouldn't have to.
No, they shouldn't, but they are playing that long game right now.
And it's like, I feel like a lot of people just want them to redo the whole sequel trilogy.
Even that I wouldn't be opposed to, honestly.
Which, like, it is what it is, and we're going to be getting some kind of follow-up if, Kathleen Kennedy ever gets another movie made. Which doesn't look very likely. I feel like the only movie we can guarantee to happen is that Dave Filoni build up with Thrawn and the Mandalorian and everything. I'm like, I feel like it's the only thing that we're guaranteed to get. I am super excited though about James Mangold, like ancient, like biblical story of like the dawn of the Force. I'm like, see, that sounds cool. I want that. And then we'll find out in 7 months it's been scrapped. Like everything else we've gotten excited about.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. Dave, what's your fondest memory of going to the movies?
So actually, it is Christmas time coming up, and my memory is going to the movies around Christmas time to see The Grinch, the one with Jim Carrey.
Oh my God.
And I say that because it was one of the few times ever we actually got my dad to go to the movies with us.
Oh, nice.
Because it's usually just me, my mom, and my brother. And the funny thing was, the one time we get him to go to the movies, the place was absolutely packed.
That movie was a phenomenon for, like, I don't know why, but it turned into one.
We had to park, like, all the way in the back behind the theater. Had to, like, make our way up the icy sidewalk. We're packed in, like, sardines in the theater. And my dad's like, I'm never doing this again.
And then, spoiler alert, he did it.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't think he ever actually went to another movie after that, so at least we picked a good one. I
remember... Oh, wait, no, that's the other one that's on the tied for the lead, is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I remember buying, it was a green VHS tape and package at Blockbuster when that movie came out. My aunt specifically bought me a Blockbuster gift card so I could go buy it for my birthday. Because it was in theaters back in December the year before and then came out on VHS in November the next year. Yeah, people want to complain how long they have to wait for things to come out on streaming. Waiting a whole entire year before you could watch anything on physical media. Back in my day. Or back when movies were in theaters for like 5 years.
Yeah.
It was a whole different time then.
Times have changed.
They certainly have. Dave, what's a film that really exceeded your expectations?
So, actually, I think I'm going to pull the one I just went and saw last night, which was the new Godzilla movie.
Yeah!
Because that one's fresh in my mind. Godzilla -1. I have seen all of the Godzilla movies because I have a friend who's a huge fan. And, we marathon them all together. And so, at this point I have, expectations of what I'm going to see in a Godzilla movie because I've seen so many of them now. And I think the thing that really stuck out to me was, not only was seeing Godzilla so cool, but even, like, the characters, the plot with the human characters was actually really good. Like, I was invested in this main character.
We cared about them.
Yes.
What a shocking thing that could happen. Who would have thought? No, seriously, though, before all the reviews started coming out and saying how great it was, all the Warner Brothers ones recently are just, big dumb movies. Like, the human characters are a waste. Mm-hmm. Why even spend any time with them? And you just get to the giant monsters fighting each other. Not this. This actually had a lot of depth. It had a nice handle on societal, generational trauma because of World War II and how that all came together in this movie. I'm just like, damn, this is one of the best movies all year. And it was a Godzilla movie. What are you doing, Warner Brothers? What are you doing?
And all on a modest budget, too.
Of $15 million. It looked better than so many movies that came out this year that had $200+ million budgets, and it's just like, how? How did you do this? And did you hear, I think it's Takashi Yamazaki, who's the director, wants to do a Star Wars movie?
Really? I would be down for that. That sounds like
He'll
a great matchup.
Will inevitably get hired, and then 6 months later find out that his movie was canceled. Not to keep harping on that, but, not bitter at all. But, that the new Godzilla film's amazing. You should go check it out. And I wish I could have seen it on IMAX, but Beyonce was on IMAX, and not Godzilla. Everybody out there enjoying Renaissance. Everybody at the theater were enjoying that. And actually, no, our auditorium had a decent amount of people in it for Godzilla, so that made me happy. But then there was a ton of people there going to see the Beyonce concert. Now, Dave, what's a written work that you would want to see adapted into a film?
So this is one that I haven't actually read, but again, I think you'll understand why I'm choosing it. And I'm going to go with The Silmarillion.
Oh, damn!
I know. And, one of the reasons I haven't tried reading it is because I've heard, it's really dense and kind of hard to get into.
It's like a Middle-earth history book.
Exactly. And, obviously, you may have to take some creative liberties if it's, that dense of a material, but
it's going to be 10 films over the course of 10 years.
It wouldn't surprise me if that's what they pulled. But, at the end of the day, I just love seeing anything new come out related to the Lord of the Rings universe. Even, Amazon has the Rings of Power, which I know people are torn on, and, it might not be the greatest thing.
Why do we wait so long to see more dwarves?
Asking the real questions.
I literally time between appearances. I'm like, why'd I have to wait 40 minutes to see more dwarves in the show? And how many episodes did it take? So, sorry. But I also agree. I would love to see more Lord of the Rings stuff. We're getting that animated Ride of the Rohirrim
that's right.
film that's coming out. And then Warner Brothers is already in the works on trying to build off of Lord of the Rings again because they're desperate to make money, and they're like, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings! So Harry Potter's definitely going to get turned into a Max series. They're definitely remaking it. That's definitely happening. They better not remake Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that is one of the movies I would say never touch. They're perfect.
I will roll up to Warner Brothers Studios in L.A. and share a piece of my mind in my fist. So, but yeah, that would be a really interesting adaptation. I know, the tricky thing is Amazon only owns the rights to, footnotes.
Yeah, that's
so,
the tough part.
Which is why they're, making this, random hodgepodge of a show. And then it's, Warner Brothers owns the rights to all the other things, so they're like, we need to make more. More! Now, it's always frustrating having to sit through a half an hour of these every time we go to the movies. But, Dave, what is your favorite movie trailer?
So, I know we were kind of giving some flack to Star Wars earlier, but I must say I was really excited when the first trailer came out for The Force Awakens.
There's been an awakening.
I love Star Wars. I have since I was little. I collected all the action figures, played the games, watched the movies. And, once we got the prequel trilogy, which, again, not perfect, but I still loved it. I thought, that was going to be it for Star Wars. And then it's like, oh my goodness, we have a new trilogy. We get to see all these characters I loved come back. And, it blew my mind. I was like, I cannot wait to see where they go with this.
Yep. And at the end of the trailer, Han and Chewie are just like, Chewie, we're home. And then goosebumps appeared on every arm in the world. And it's just because that dropped on, Christmas or something, a year out. And I'm just it was just there's been an awakening. And just, panning across the desert and, John Boyega's face. And you're just it's a black stormtrooper. And then the rest of the trailer happened, and then everybody lost their minds. And then literally everyone in the United States went to go see A Force Awakens. Because that made almost $1 billion domestically. It didn't make that much worldwide because China doesn't like Star Wars because magic. They outlaw. They don't like that stuff. They'd rather see boom, boom, boom Transformers and Fast and Furious. Now, thinking about some music, Dave, what's your favorite use of a song in a movie?
Ooh, now this one you're definitely gonna love. And like, I feel like I couldn't pick anything else. It has to be All Star from Shrek. Like seriously, how does anything measure up to that?
That opening of Shrek while he's getting ready for his day to All Star. You know, you start with like the Disney fairy tale book, and it's like, oh, what a load. And he wipes his ass with it, and then somebody wants to. And then, Smash Mouth was so big then.
Iconic opening to a movie.
It was so unexpected because you're watching a fairy tale movie and then all of a sudden Smash Mouth comes out of nowhere. And that wasn't even the first movie that had All-Star in it. That movie Mystery Men with Ben Stiller and everything used that too. And then Shrek's like, no. Bam! So I agree. Shrek has amazing uses of music between that and Holding Out for a Hero with the fairy godmother in the second one.
For sure.
Which Dave is going to be joining me for my Shrek 2 episode of the Wasteland Vintage Roadshow, which we'll be recording next month. So, getting to watch Shrek 2 again, because I can't get enough. And then even like Livin' La Vida Loca. I'm sorry, Ricky Martin. You have been eclipsed by Eddie Murphy and Antonio Banderas. So yes, All-Star, you do know me so well, Dave. Now, Dave, if you have to sit and listen to a soundtrack, like a score, what's that score you're going to pick to listen to?
This one, there's like probably like at least 5 songs off of it that I could like say are some of my favorite songs I've ever heard from a movie, and that would be The Greatest Showman.
Oh my God. The Greatest Showman is such an interesting movie because, like, is P.T. Barnum a piece of shit? Yes. But it's Hugh Jackman, so how much can you hate him?
Yeah.
And then all the songs are bangers.
They're so good. And, like, before that, I only ever knew Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
It's like, this man can sing!
I was just, like, blown away. I was like, this is amazing. The whole time I was sitting there, I was mesmerized.
And, like, that's, like, the easiest hour, 40-minute watch of a movie, because it's just like, bam, 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 song after song after song, and then you're like, oh, it's over. Okay. And then you listen to the soundtrack for the movie, and you're just basically like, I feel like I just watched the whole movie over again, because that's just the movie.
You can just picture all the scenes as you're listening to it.
Yep. And, like, not only did you have Hugh Jackman, then you got Zac Efron. Showing up too, and I love their song together. That they have that duet in the bar. So good.
I think that one might be my favorite. The Other Side.
Yep, that's such a good one. And then of course the titular Greatest Showman, the Greatest Show song at the beginning, which I remember when that song came out, and then it's just like, oh wait, it's all of them singing together, and then you watch the movie and it's like, oh wait a minute, it splits the movie. What a trick. What an interesting trick. But yeah, I certainly have listened to that over and over and over again, so I don't blame you. But Dave, it is time to air your grievances. It is time. What is the one thing that you would want movies to stop doing?
Ooh, this one's probably like a common choice, I feel, among a lot of people.
That's okay, let it out, Dave.
I would say stop shoehorning in unnecessary romances.
You don't need a romance in everything.
No. And, like, one example I thought of where it seemed like it was going in that direction and then didn't, which I really appreciated, which I'd like to give a shout out for, is in the movie Frozen.
Ah, yes.
Where the whole time it seems like the only thing that's going to break the curse is, you know, a prince's love and, you know...
And then it was sisterhood. Screw you!
I was like, that is the kind of twist that I want to see, where it's like, we're going to do a cliche, not...
What a twist. Pull that rug out from under you, and then you slip on the ice. But that is very fair, because it's like... I feel like one of the main... So I do really love The Last Jedi, but one of the things that they just did not do well with was the whole entire side quest that they sent Finn on that wound up meaning nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it amounted to nothing. And then his whole entire thing with Rose, and I'm just like, is this the best that he could have done for Finn in this movie? Disappointed. But no, there's definitely a lot of romances that just feel so forced, and not everything can be Shrek and Fiona. Because that's true love right there. There you go. But Dave, how I always like to wrap up this show is by asking my guest to ask me a question. So Dave, what would you like to ask the Wasteland Reviewer?
Ooh, man, that's giving me a lot of power.
Don't waste it, Dave.
Let's see. Kind of jumping off of that idea of, stuff that is cliche in movies that we don't like to see. What is something that you feel like you see too often in movie reviews? Like something that, critics like to attack in movies that you may or may not agree with?
So, my biggest pet peeve about reviews is when they tell me this is not the movie they wanted. It's just like, your job is not to review the movie that you wanted. It's to review the movie you watched. And I feel like expectations have ruined so much. And it's just like, sure, marketing sucks. And they set up a completely different thing. Which is why I try not to watch trailers, except for a select few, because I cannot stop watching that Furiosa trailer. Just for the record. And we're totally going to watch it when we're done recording. But like, the expectations, and it's just like, well, it should have done this. This is how the film should have been. The story should have been about this. It's just like, you watched a movie. Did it work? Did it work what it was trying to do? It had a goal. Did it achieve it? If it didn't, yeah, sure. You didn't like it. Fine. Done. I don't need you trying to pitch me your version of this movie that you did not put in any of the creative effort to make. And it's also not your idea. And I think the biggest thing is when it comes to like Marvel films and Star Wars and stuff like that. And this is going to sound like a jerk, but the biggest retort that I have for people is like, if you want to make them, you find all the money to buy the rights from Disney, and then you make them. Because right now, Disney paid billions of dollars for these, and they're going to make what they're going to want to make. Do I agree with all of it? No. But, like, perfect example. Multiverse of Madness. That wasn't enough of a multiverse of madness. And I'm like, why? Because all of those rumors didn't come true that were outlandish and were never going to happen in the first place, but you got stuck in your head that they were going to? And like Civil War, it's like, oh my god, the comic book Civil War had all these characters in it. This was not that. I'm like, no crap. It wasn't. This is the MCU. This is how they had their Civil War. Review the movie. Watch the movie. Did it work? If it didn't, fine. If it did, good. If it's not the movie you wanted, then you go make your own movies. So, yeah. What really grinds my gears. No, I just feel like it's like your job as a reviewer, as a critic, is to review the film that's in front of you. Sure, you probably could have some ideas. I try my best to refrain from doing stuff like that when I'm reviewing a film. It's like, it's easy. If you're like, they should have done this storyline instead of this storyline, say the storyline you didn't like didn't work for you. And that's all you have to say. And leave it at that. See, that wasn't too hard. But Dave, thank you so much for coming on and chatting movies with me.
It's always a good time. Thanks for having me.
And thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.